Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's class. Today we'll be continuing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, verse 65. The chapter is entitled Lord Chaitanya in Five Features. We're very happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Srila Prabhupada Maharaj.
Glories to Prabhupada. Hari, can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj, loud and clear. Can you hear me, Maharaj? Am I audible to you?
I have to fix the screen now. It's not right. Are you going to leave today?
Maharaj, Krishna's mercy, I'm here for another one, up until 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Oh boy, we got you.
Only by your mercy, Maharaj, only by your mercy.
Okay, let me see. I still don't have a full screen here.
Can you see the verse, Maharaj?
I can see it, but it's still a partial screen. All right, let's see if I can do something to make it full. I don't think so, because I just hit the full screen. Yeah. I don't think so. I'll just have to go with what I have here. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gauravat Vrinda Apane Prakasananda Hate Te Dariya Vasala Sabda Mana Kariya. Prakasananda Saraswati had caught Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, but treated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. Purport: the respectful behavior Prakasananda Saraswati towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is appreciated. This behavior is calculated to be agyata sukriti, or pious activities that one executes unknowingly. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very tactfully gave Prakasananda Saraswati an opportunity to advance in agyata sukriti, so that in the future he might actually become a Vaishnava sannyasi. And Lord Chaitanya here is setting the stage for making the Mayavadis favorable to what he's about to tell them. Okay, go on to the next verse. Uchila Tomara Nama Sri Krishna Chaitanya Keshava Bharatiya Sishya Tata Tume Danya. Prakasananda Saraswati then said, I understand that your name is Sri Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati, and therefore you are glorious. So Prakasananda Saraswati is saying here that you are part of the Mayavadi school like we are. Therefore, your life is glorious. Sampradakya sannyasi tumi raha e grame ki karane atma sabare nakara darsane. You belong to our Sankara Sampradaya and live in our village, Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is that you avoid even seeing us? Purport. A Vaishnav sannyasi, or a Vaishnav in the second stage of advancement in spiritual knowledge, can understand four principles, namely, Sri, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees, the innocent, and the jealous. And he behaves different with each. He tries to increase his love for God, makes friendship with the devotees, and preaches Krishna consciousness among the innocent. But he avoids the jealous who are envious of Sri Krishna, of Krishna conscious movement. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself exemplified such behavior, and this is why Prakasananda Saraswati inquired, why did he not associate or even talk with them? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed by example that a preacher of the Krishna conscious movement generally should not waste his time talking with Mayavadi sannyasis. When there are arguments on Shastra, Vaishnavas to talk and defeat them in philosophy. According to Mayavadi sannyasis, only one who has taken sannyas in a disciplic succession from Shankara is a Vedic sannyasi. Sometimes it is challenged that the sannyasis who are preaching in the Krishna conscious movement are not genuine because they knew the family. Mayavadis do not offer sannyas to one who does not belong to a Brahmin family by birth. Unfortunately, however, they do not know that at present everyone is born Sudra, Kalo Sudra Sambhava. It is to be understood that there are no Brahmanas in this age because those who claim to be Brahmins simply on the basis of birthright do not have the Brahminical qualifications. However, if one is born in a non-Brahmin family, if he has a Brahminical qualification, he should be accepted as a Brahmin, as confirmed by Sri Narada Muni and the great saint Sridhar Swami. This is also stated in Srimad. Both Narada and Sridhar Swami completely agree that one cannot be a Brahmana by birth, but must be a Brahman. This is our Krishna conscious movement. We never offer a sannyas order to a person who we do not find qualified in terms of prescribed Brahminical principles. Although it is a fact that unless one is a Brahmana, he cannot become a sannyasi, it is not a valid principle that an unqualified man who was born in a Brahmin family is a Brahmin, whereby a Brahminical qualified person born in a non-Brahmin family cannot be accepted. Krishna conscious movement strictly follows the injunctions of Srimad Bhagavatam, avoiding misleading heresy and manufactured conclusions. Gyantimidandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhuta Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachadine Nirvit Yavari Pasyatya Desatani Vancha Kopa Tu Vischa Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Patitaram Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So one essential point is one is put in a position by qualification and not by any other consideration. Therefore, if one is qualified, even though one is not born in a Brahmin family, still they can act as a Brahmin. This is a verse spoken by Sri Naradaji. It talks about, qualification as opposed to birth. Karma instead of janma. Janma may be in a principle of advancement, but unless it comes to the stage of qualification, it falls short. And therefore, a person who, even though has all good birth, still they have to exemplify the qualities needed for the position that they are applying for. You see that also in today's. Of course, there is a thing called in the material on-the-job training, and also we see that also that even Prabhupada used that even though people weren't qualified for initiation, he gave them initiation, no hoping that they would come up to the standards after initiation by association and by activity. But that is not a general principle we follow, especially in this case here, because to act as in the position as a leader, one cannot simply walk into that position and train one, because one is responsible for those that they lead. And therefore, without the qualifications, those who are being led will be misled. So therefore, qualification ranks supreme. A very important point. And this controversy, which still goes on today, has its origin in one particular pastime that involves Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. The year was 1911. 1911 in a place called Midnapur in Bengal, where this controversy was going on. People were saying, you're born in a Brahmin family, you're born Brahmin. And we were saying, and the Vaishnavas were saying no. And so there was a debate organized to come to some kind of conclusion, a public debate, where people from the outside were also invited to hear the discussion. And so Bhakti Vinod Thakur was requested to be the representative of the Vaishnavas. But when it came around time, he came down with rheumatic fever and he was bedridden. He couldn't go. But just so happened his son, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, had just finished writing a paper, which later became a book available in ISKCON. It's called Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, it's actually entitled. And after reading the manuscript, Bhakti Vinod Thakur understood, here's the qualified person to go on my behalf. So Bhakti Siddhanta went at that time. He was unknown. He was not even known as a preacher at that time. Not long before then, he just received initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Bhakti Siddhanta was asked to speak first. And the Brahmins were there in number, and many people also came. And as he was presenting his argument, he started off by glorifying the Brahmanas in so many ways, and by quoting verses from the Shastra saying, if one is a Brahmana and one is the leader of society, one has all good qualities and so many things. And he went on, and the Brahmanas were getting quite enlivened hearing how he was supporting their position. But as he went on, at one point he switched, and then he said, actually, but unless one is qualified to be a Brahmana, even if they're born in a Brahmin family, they cannot act as a Brahmana. And then he started quoting verses to support that argument. And then he became very proficient. I don't know what's the word, not proficient, but very prolific in quoting verse after verse after verse, showing it's all about qualifications and not by janma or birth. And then this went on, and then the crowd was getting excited. Who is this young sannyasi? And the Brahmanas were feeling slighted. And his arguments were so penetrating and so clear and so shastrically supportive that they just got up and left. And then everyone cheered Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He went out hearing the Brahmanas speak, and they came up to touch his feet. Of course, there was a large crowd, and they all rushed. Sometimes you see in India, it's like that. People become so excited they want to touch your feet. This happened to Prabhupada many times. So the police were there and they pushed back the crowd and they took Bhaktisiddhanta into another area and washed his feet and then threw all of the water on the crowd. So that was a victory for the Vaishnavas. And that victory is very much in the history, which stands today as a precedent to show that it is about qualification. And it actually is very logical. How can one present themselves in a position that they're not qualified? But even if they're qualified, why should they be denied the position? That's basically a very simple principle of logic. And so this is the situation here that, what is it? The Mayavadis are wondering why Lord Chaitanya is not associating with them. And then he will come back to the principle, as explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instructions, that those on the Madhyaman platform, which is the second class platform, must follow four principles very carefully. One, to give their love to the Supreme Lord, make friendship with other devotees, preach Krishna consciousness to the innocent, and avoid the envious non-devotees. Here it says jealous and envious. And so Lord Chaitanya also followed that, and he didn't associate with the Mayavadis. But now, when they were criticizing him, and many of his followers were becoming very unhappy hearing the criticism of Lord Chaitanya, he wanted to pacify his followers and give them the right understanding. And at the same time, he took the opportunity to preach Krishna consciousness to the Mayavadis. But in order to do that, he showed certain behavior which was attractive to the Mayavadis. His humility, his effulgence was noticed, and the fact that he was also in the Mayavadi Sampradaya, Bharati Sampradaya, all of this allowed him to enter into the association of the Mayavadis in a way that was very innocent or very unassuming, at least from their point of view. And now we see what will happen here. So, but generally, a devotee doesn't associate with Mayavadis because Mayavadis are offenders to the Supreme Lord. As Lord Chaitanya said, Mayavadi Krishna Aparadi. They don't acknowledge the Supreme Lord. They say that actually Brahma Satya Jagat Mitra, the Brahman is truth, and Jagat, that means the material energy is false. They say the material energy is false. We don't say it's false. We say it's temporary. They say it's false. And therefore they say that all souls are of the nature of Brahman, and therefore they're all ultimately, as it's also mentioned, Brahman is one. And therefore, because all souls are one, they're not divided amongst themselves. They are all the Supreme. So they don't make a distinction between Param Brahman, the source of Brahman, and that Brahman that is the emanation from Param Brahman, which is the Jiva soul. But the Shastras make that clear indication. They quote various verses to support their argument and reinterpret those verses accordingly. Just like we quote one verse, Namaivam so Jiva Loka Jiva Vita Sanatana, Masastani Sayani Bhakapistani Karshati. So we quote that verse and they also quote it, but they give a different interpretation. we say the word Sanatan means eternal, that the living entity is Jiva, Sanatan. But they say that Sanatan is only during the manifestation. Once the manifestation is wound up, the Jiva enters into its realm of being the absolute or the supreme truth. So they can take the same group to authorize our argument when they change the word away. Sometimes it says that this material world is nirguna, which means without qualities. We say, yeah, or the soul is nirguna, without qualities. We say, yes, that's true, but without material qualities. But they say, no, it means no qualities. So you'll find their arguments, and they're very expert at the principle of argument. They can quote and they can convince. I've seen personally how they speak. They speak with such assurity and with such depth of shastric statements, but all in line with their conclusion. If you have a particular conclusion, and this is true about Shastra, and you try to verify your conclusion, you can do that with Shastra. Simply those verses that support your conclusion, not recognizing the gradation of verses, not recognizing the context of, but just taking verses, stringing them together, and coming out with your conclusion. I was talking to one expert preacher in our movement who's not written, but translated so many of the works of the Goswamis. And he was saying you can take Bhagavatam and you can prove it as being, the conclusion is impersonal by choosing certain verses in the Bhagavatam and then giving your own explanations like that. So they're very expert at that. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya carefully warns each and every Vaishnava or those who are even innocent not to hear from such persons, because then it says your spiritual life will be destroyed or doomed, finished, because they can speak very convincingly. Yeah. And then quote, and then pretty soon you become even if you don't join them, you become doubtful of what you believe in. And they create that doubt based on their fallacious arguments. Okay, so Lord Chaitanya, now he's being welcomed into the association of the Mayavadis, and they're questioning, why don't you associate with us? And here we're hearing from the purport why was in seriously executing devotional service, or anyone who engages in devotional service avoids association with certain type of people, and especially Mayavadis, because Mayavadis are envious of the Lord. Therefore, they redefine the Lord as the Jiva because they don't want to serve the Lord directly. Not because they don't want to serve the Lord, first because they don't recognize that there is a Supreme Lord ahead of everything. They say Brahman is the supreme and all living entities are Brahman, therefore the supreme. There is no gradations in Brahman. And they also quote a verse saying that Brahman cannot be divided. Brahman is one. There's no such thing as two Brahmans. But the scriptures talk about Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Vidadati Kamam. That Nityo means eternal, Nityanam means many. Nityo means one, and Nityanam means many. And Nitya means eternal. So that one manifests himself also as many eternals, and that is the expansion. So there's always one and different. And Prabhupada was giving a very powerful discussion when he was in one city in India called WADA, WADHA, with a whole group of people convincing him that actually that there is an eternal distinction and inidentity between the soul and the supreme soul, both in the manifestation and in the liberation. We never become the Lord, and we are always in our own identity as Jiva. Jiva Shakti is also a principle of the absolute truth. It's not just temporarily manifested during the creation and lost after the creation. It's always there. Therefore, Eko Bahunam Vidadati Karman, that there is one, no one is equal to, and no one is greater than that Nitya, who is the manifestation of all of the other eternals. So when you understand those verses that actually are given by the Acharyas, that even spoken by the Lord himself, and then you hear from the spiritual teachers, then you can understand what is the actual understanding. And it's important for devotees to know this distinction, because people are Mayavadis, even those who don't follow Mayavadis directly, have a misconception of the nature of the absolute truth. They can't understand, because unless you serve the absolute truth, you may redefine what is the absolute truth. Or you may think there is no absolute truth, there's all relative truths, and therefore every relative truth has status amongst all of the other relative truths. So therefore one has to hear from the right person. Those who are fixed in self-realization, knowing of the relationship. And then, of course, the scriptures talks about rasa, a relationship, that the soul has its own distinct identity. Although the identity is fundamentally spiritual, still there is a personality difference in the identities of the different jivas. Some serve the Lord in one way, some serve the Lord in another way, based on their what we call their Istadeva, or not Istadeva, I'm sorry, based on their actual eternal identity in the spiritual world. And so each soul has a personality, has a form, has characteristics, has designated activities in the spiritual world. And so this thing is very important to understand, that we never merge into the Lord and become one. One can merge into the body of the Lord, but still within that merging, there is still the distinction. You don't lose your identity. You may not be aware of your identity in the merging, but still you don't lose your identity. It's just like then the argument they were saying to Prabhupada, if you take a drop of water and you put it into a bucket of water, and then that drop is no longer there. No, it's true. But no, it actually is. But now the drop cannot be distinct. But still, that drop is still there, although indistinct. And you can again extract one drop from that bucket, and still the bucket remains the collection of all of the different drops. So using these analogies to help understand the principle of oneness and difference, that the living entity is one with and different than God, one in different in quantity. And that is the understanding. We are spiritual, but we are not the supreme spiritual. Therefore, the tendency of the living entity in the material world is to become overcome by the external energy, which is less powerful. The spiritual energy is more powerful than the material energy, yet the living entity who is spiritual becomes overcome by the material energy and loses its awareness of itself and takes on an identity that is false based on the body that they inhabit. And that is the material world, that is Maya. So the living entity in the material world, thinks according to something material. I am man, I am woman, I am from this background, I am, you know, we can use so many different designations that apply in the material sense, but all of them are ahankara. They're all based on false ego. They're not true. And the fact that they don't stand the test of time is indicated of the element of truth. Truth is something that is not affected by time. If something is affected by time, it's considered to be untruth, but it has its existence at a certain time. The Mayavadis say it's all untrue, but we say it is true at one point, but not true at another point. Therefore, in the conclusion, it's considered to be untrue. But it does exist. It's not that it doesn't exist. Material energy does exist. If it didn't, if it didn't exist, how can it cover the spiritual energy? But it does exist. But it's temporary. And it's one of Krishna's energies also. So therefore, it also has power. It's called the external energy, the Maya energy. It has two qualities. It throws the living entity out of its connection with the Supreme Lord and then covers that living entity to make them forget their relationship with the Supreme. And that throwing and covering potencies, two potencies, that's what happens when a devotee loses its connection in devotional service. He falls down, then while in the fallen condition, he actually forgets his position in relationship to the Lord in devotional service and starts to redefine himself again in the materialistic way. So although it's considered to be an illusion, still it exists temporarily. And therefore, because it's temporary, it has nothing to do with the soul, although it apparently does affect the soul by making the soul forget, just like when you go to sleep at night, you dream. In your dream state, you might be identifying this with something in the dream, but ultimately, that identity is something you adopt within the dream. When you wake up from the dream, you understand it was just a dream. So this material energy and our existence within the material energy on the waking level is just another form of dreaming. It's real, just like in the dream. Sometimes you get a reaction on the physical level. Sometimes the dream is so horrible, you wake up, and someone is being chased by some lion or tiger in the dream, and they wake up scared, or they see something frightful in the dream, and they wake up, or even they see some beautiful girl in the dream, and then there's some symptom of reaction in the dream. So yeah, even though it's a dream, it still manifests itself on the physical level in some cases. So in the same way, we're in this material world and we're dreaming. We're dreaming, whatever body we have, whatever country we're connected to, whatever gender we may exhibit. So this is a dream. Therefore, the scriptures say, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bhole, Gota Nidra Jayo Maya, Pisachi Bhole. That's the wake up. That's the alarm clock. That alarm clock does not have a snooze button. You can push and then go back to sleep. You can either stay asleep or you can wake up. And once you wake up, that is called self-realization. Realizing yourself distinct from everything that you are connected with in this material world. Okay, so we can then we take that principle a little farther, and then we come to our spiritual identity, and then we serve the Lord in that spiritual identity. We become self-realized, and then we qualify to go back home, back to Godhead, and enter into the realm of the spiritual world, where life is eternal, full of knowledge, and free from all of Maya bodies. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Marge, for giving such a class with so many details for us to be careful to protect our devotional creeper, our Bhakti Lata Beach. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing and request devotees to please turn on your cameras so that we can have each other's association and ask questions. And if there are any questions, please raise your hand or you can put it in the chat and I will call you in the order that you're in that's been raised. Amritanam, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, my very common observation is when we look around, whether it may be devotees or non-devotees, the false ego is very much a hindrance for us as a sadhaka. As a sadhaka, it is a hindrance for realizations. Non-devotees and Mayavatis and all, you see the false ego as a hindrance for acceptance of personalism. So, how do we work on this false ego, or if we see somebody, because I feel that Kali Yuga is taking help of a false ego a lot to, keep them away from the God consciousness. So how do we work on this, and how do we help others to get rid of this false ego?
There is real ego too. If you say something is false, then you have to understand there's a real ego also. Just like there's a counterfeit, rupee note, but then that indicates there's a real one also. So the false ego is that ego that identifies with the external. Real ego identifies with our actual position. Jiver Sarupai Krishna Nityadas. What is real ego? We have an identity. We are eternal servants of the Lord. Not just servants of the Lord eternally. So that's our real ego, and that's never lost. It's just covered by this illusionary idea that we are man, we are woman, we belong to this country, we belong to this society, we belong to whatever we belong to this family. These are all false ego. We don't belong to anything in this world. That's the thing. It's all part of the false ego. Any activity you take up in this material world is orchestrated by the three modes of material energy. Therefore, it's a symptom of the false ego. Therefore, when one is fully engaged in devotional service, one is freeing themselves from the illusion of false ego. Janasamoham yamaham rameti. I and mine is the principle of the false ego. I am, this is. I am this is mine. None of these things apply because we don't belong here. And we have nothing to do with this material world. But because we're here, we have a material body, we adopt all these illusionary identities and illusionary activities to somehow facilitate a desire to enjoy matter, which is not enjoyable. So the whole thing is just due to our associating with the immaterial energy. Break that association through very strong association with devotees and engage in Krishna consciousness. When you associate with devotees regularly, when I say regularly, as much as possible, every day at least, and engage in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, you awaken your actual identity, and then the false identity starts to become less and less. So, yeah, you have to come to that understanding through the process of pure devotional service.
Yes, Ganesh, thank you. So even the subtle aspects are covered, right? And when as the sadhakas, when we we make endeavors to identify our subtle aspects of false ego. Even
Yeah.
that covers with devotional service and association of devotees.
And those coverings are even harder to recognize, the subtle coverings. Those coverings are more easily identifiable. And you can see them, you can even understand them. But the subtle, you can't see so much. The subtle aspect is, I am the doer. Whatever I'm doing is because I am doing it. But actually, that's the subtle aspect of the false ego. You're not doing it. You're simply desiring it. And then by that desire, the energies are carrying everything out. We only have one feature, which is called desire. We can desire material, we can desire spiritual. Stop desiring material. Stop acting materially. Act spiritually. And transforming our material activities into spiritual activities. But even doing that, that is called, we call it, what is it called? Engaging something material in the service of the Lord. And that brings us to the platform of devotional service. But that's hard because we're still in contact with the external energy. Therefore, the subtle coverings become a little bit more less detectable to understand. You know, you would think everyone is treating you as a woman, but you're not a woman. That's just your body.
Mm.
But it's being reinforced by everything around you. We're not a man, we're not a woman, we're not Indian, we're not American, we're not French, we're not British, we're not any of this garbage. The spiritual world, that's our only identity. But we're playing this role in here as a person who is connected with this material energy. Stop desiring and then stop acting based on that desire. As long as the desire is still there, the activity is going to manifest. Desire only Krishna, and then you can purify that desire.
Yes, thank you, Guru Maharaj. I think whenever I observe the quarrels or maybe the situation in going on in the world, I always end up with one conclusion, that we are misidentifying ourselves. That is one of the
Yeah.
major reasons which I feel. So yeah, thank you. I think you covered most of the things.
Spoken by Shakespeare. All the world is a stage. All the world is a stage. What is your role in the drama?
Thank you, Amritanam. Very nice questions. Lots of questions. Thank you so much. Very nice. Marsh, there's a question. And again, if anyone has a question, please do raise your hand. But I'm going to go to the one in the chat. Marsh, there's a question here from Daria. She's asking, why did Lord Chaitanya avoid the jealous? If I remember correctly, in the previous classes, we heard that by only his darshan, one would turn into a devotee. Did he avoid those that were envious of others, since ultimately it's the Lord that we envy then? What about the atheists? Did the Lord avoid them as well?
Yeah, he's teaching as an example as a devotee. He's now acting in the position of the Lord. He's teaching us those four principles are for devotees, not for the Lord. He is the Lord, but he's acting in the role of a devotee. Therefore, he's following the principles the devotee follows.
So, which means, Maharaj, that because Lord Chaitanya is teaching us as a devotee that, for us to learn, does that mean that we as practicing devotees should also avoid those who are jealous and envious and all that, Maharaj?
Oh, that's the message.
Okay.
That's your identity, and you're somehow or other identifying with, something that is not real or Maya, matter.
Wow. Very nice question, Daria. Thank you. Got me thinking too. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Daria.
Sorry, I hope you can hear me. My humble obeisances all goes to Srila Prabhupada Maharaj. But to what extent, because ultimately everybody's maybe jealous of somebody, to what extent should we try to avoid?
Complete extent.
Because even between devotees, sometimes you can see enviousness and.
Well, if someone illustrates a quality of negativity, that doesn't mean that's their character. But if someone is developing that character as their character, in other words, they're jealous all the time, then yeah, you avoid that.
Thank you very much.
Understand the word jealous. Prabhupada's using it in a little bit of a looser way. Basically, those who are atheists, non-devotees. And that's the statement in the Shastras. Prabhupada is using a word that's a little bit less definitive of the statement, just to give a broader understanding of the same principle. Oh, you're serving the Lord. Therefore, you are, I'm unhappy because you're not serving the Lord. You're serving the Lord. You shouldn't be serving the Lord. That's what the jealous say. The jealous say you shouldn't be doing that. So if somebody's is exhibiting this characteristic, telling you directly or indirectly you shouldn't serve, you should avoid that person. 100%. Shiv.
That was a very powerful march, how you actually, showed us that fine line of how we can distinguish. Thank you, Marge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Like that, you also become affected by that same mentality.
Yes, Marge. Thank you. Shivakumar, you're next.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, few questions I had, Maharaj, on Mayavadis. The first one, if Mayavadi rejects the world, Maharaj, then I'm trying to understand, they also seek a guru, right, Maharaj? Because Shastra says you have to go to a guru. I don't know if they even reach out to a guru, accept a guru. In which case, I'm wondering on what basis they would accept a guru and what would be their practice itself in terms of attaining their goal.
Yeah, and they understand that the guru is one that has attained to the position of God. They see guru as God, and therefore they strive to become guru also, so they can also become God.
Okay.
Yeah, they take instructions from guru so they can become like guru.
Okay.
We use the example is that if you want to go up high on a building, you use a ladder. So when you get to the top, you think, I don't need the ladder anymore, so you push the ladder away. So they use guru to come up to position of being guru, and then they have no need for guru anymore.
Okay.
They see guru as simply a ladder. We see guru as the eternal representative of the Supreme Lord, both in the conditioned stage and in the liberated stage.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, Maharaj. So this is a bit overwhelming for me, Maharaj, to kind of digest this. So, Maharaj, if I understand correctly, the Mayavadi guru would reject the world as unreal, but the disciple has to accept the guru as real till he attains his position of being able to reject the world as unreal.
Yeah, take the unreal and get to the real through the unreal.
Okay.
Go west. If you keep going west, you'll come to your position that was your destination was actually east, right?
Hmm.
So you're sitting in Kerala, right? That's where you are, right?
Yes.
All right, so you go out and so you take a plane going we'll see where Kerala is situated on the eastern side of India, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you want to go to some place near Kerala that's a little bit west of Kerala. So you go east instead of going west, and if you keep going east long enough, you'll come around all the way around to the western side eventually.
Okay. Hmm.
Which is really idiotic, you know.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
I mean, you could put holes in their logic also, if you know how
Hmm.
to know how their logic works.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Srimati, you have a question?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, Shivakumar, you said you had several, so I think you got all your answers in one question, huh?
Yes, Mataji, couple of questions were answered, but I will
No
hold on,
problem.
come back maybe after some time.
No problem. No problem. Just want to make sure. No problem. Go
Thank you.
ahead. Shrimati, you had a question, Shrimati?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, in continuation with Daria Mataji's question, so I observed like even devotees have jealousy and envy, little bit of that, because when we want to do something, like suppose somebody is doing a great service and I want to do that, and suppose I'm not able to do that, then I think we develop a kind of jealousy towards them, or enviousness. So that's what I observed, Guru Maharaj. And is it...
You avoid that association, that's all.
mm,
Just because they're a devotee doesn't mean you have to associate with them. You avoid that association. Said devotee one should avoid the envious and the jealous. The jealous and envious devotees who are in cloaks of devotee. They may not even be a devotee, but they think they're a devotee, but they still carry all of the bad material qualities with them. They haven't come to the point of being a devotee yet, but they act like they are devotees. It's called Kali Chala. They have all of the externals, but the internals never develop beyond this.
yeah.
Kali Chala. That means Kali Chela. Chela means disciple. They're disciples of Kali in the guise of devotees. That's all.
Mm. Yes, Guru Maharaj. But even though we don't take their association, um, but sometimes we encounter them and they immediately show those qualities. Yeah,
We meet some of them too, but I don't really associate with them.
yeah. Yes, Maharaj.
Those who are envious of others, those who are critical of others, avoid that.
Mm.
They're not real devotees.
Mm. And one more thing I want to share, Guru Maharaj, like Amritanam was saying about false ego. Recently, just this weekend, Devaki Mataji, she came here to give her association to all of us, Her Grace Devaki Mataji. She wrote a book on false ego, and it was like false ego, constant companion, and a troublemaker. That was the title of the book. So I bought that book, but I didn't start yet reading. But yeah, I just want to mention that to Amritanam.
Yeah, I have the copy of the book also.
Yeah. And she recommended us to read the Sheltering Relationships book too, as we are in the project of temple construction now. So she wanted us to build relationships and devotee care.
Yeah, yes, and she knows how to deal with the subtle very good.
Yes.
She has very nice books, very, very nice books, but I would like to get the one on false ego soon. She has really nice books.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice question, Srimati. Thank you. Marge, I have a question, Marge, is when here we are discussing, in your class you talked about avoiding the Mayavadis, the jealousy, the envious, the hate, and so on and so forth. Marge, how about Sahajas? How do we handle them, or do we also avoid them?
The word sahaja means taking things cheaply.
Yeah.
They make some pretense of being devotees, but actually it's just an act.
Yes.
Yeah. When you see that, yeah, avoid it. You have to
Because I think,
recognize.
yes, Marge. It's because we know that they're taking it cheaply and very lightly, and they have their own perception. I think sometimes we feel like there is probably a little bit of hope, to quote unquote win them over, but it's just too thick, so that after a period of time, it's just impossible.
When the pure devotee spiritual master is present, these little cheap little birds fly away. They don't stay.
That's
They
a
don't
very
stay.
powerful point.
Because he exposes them simply by his preaching.
Okay. Thank you, Marge. Thank you. Yes, Shivakumar, go ahead. We have I just want to let the voices that we got about 5 more minutes before to wrap up the session. Go ahead, Shivakumar, with the question.
Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, one more question I had, Maharaj, with respect to impersonalism. Is there any difference between a common person, a non-devotee, I mean non-spiritual, a person who has not taken up any spiritual pursuit, but has some vague idea of impersonalism deep in his mind, to someone who is actively pursuing impersonalism as part of spiritual pursuit? Is there any difference, Maharaj, between these two persons?
The same thing, but the quality is different. The quantity is different. That's all. There's a little thief and there's a big thief. The big thief steals stuff right from the safe of the bank. The little thief will steal a cucumber from the market. They're both thieves.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, let's wrap it up. I actually have to dash out of here because I have an appointment coming up in, well, I have to leave very soon for that appointment, so.
We can wrap it up, Marge. So I want to thank all the devotees for participating, asking really enlivening questions. I hope that we have learned and benefited from it. Thank you, Marge, for answering all the questions and giving us your time. Vanchakaptibhyascha, kripasindabheva patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yes, Marge. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you want to give an announcement. I'm sorry, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Guru
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Marge, I stayed till the end for you, Marge. I was able to do it this time. Thank you for allowing me to serve you, Marge.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
When I write my diary tonight, I'm going to write that point.
Oh, no, Marge, please. Oh, Krishna Chaitanya. Please, Marge. It's only by your mercy.
My diary is the highlight of the day. The day highlights. So I'm going to say, we were benedicted today with something that hasn't happened in a long time that used to happen all the time.
Marge, it's only by your mercy. It's not at all mine. It's purely, I have been waiting for this day for the past 2 months when I can do your whole class, and I'm so happy that the Lord answered my prayers. Thank you, Marge.
You're not as happy as I am.
Marge, we're looking forward to a visit to Harrisburg.
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg, and I emailed you the date for our Harrisburg Rath Yatra, so please come, Marge. I'm begging.
I have a very difficult problem, which I'll
Uh-oh.
tell you when I talk to you.
All right, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. No problem. Anytime, no rush, Maharaj.
No, for sure that I'm really going to do everything I can to be there.
We will pray for that, Maharaj, intensely.
Now, the Harrisburg Rath Yatra is on June 20th,
Yes.
and the Chicago Rath Yatra is on June 21st. I have to be in Chicago and in Harrisburg, both.
Maharaj, we can fly you over. I'll do anything. We'll fly you over.
Well, I'm right on your back, and you can carry me over there.
Maharaj, I will fly you, Maharaj. Anything to fly you in and fly you out, I will do it. I will
Okay.
do it.
I'll be in Harrisburg, and I'll be in Chicago also.
Yes, Maharaj. And we will make it happen.
I'll come before the 20th so I can stay a day or so extra.
Oh, yes, Maharaj, because Dear Krishna would like you to do a program in Reading, actually. He was mentioning that to me also
You'd have a
the day
Christmas,
before.
maybe on Friday night or one of the evenings. That
Yeah, Maharaj, we can definitely plan that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we will make sure that, when you come to this Rath Yatra, Maharaj, we will fly you over to the Chicago Rath Yatra. So there's no complaints. Both parties are win-win situation.
By your desire alone, I might be able to fly without an airplane.
Maharaj, I am very fallen. We're excited, Maharaj. We really are excited.
I hope I can make it, but the plan is there. No question.
We will pray for the plan to manifest, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hari Bol. Hari Hari Krishna. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day. Hari Hari Bol, devotees.
Yeah, I'm going to the dentist, so pray for me.
Oh, Krishna Chaitanya. Maharaj, we will pray for you, Maharaj. The dentists are not very good visits, but yes, we will pray for you, Maharaj.
Not too many people's favorite person to associate with me. Anyway.
No. When they mess with the mouth, no, it's very uncomfortable. We'll keep you and our prayers and our thoughts today, Maharaj.
My dentist is a devotee, so he has to be careful or else I'll curse him.
They don't want the Brahmanas curse, Maharaj. They don't want the sannyasi, the Vaishnava curse, Maharaj.
Nice devotee. So he's one of the most gentlest dentists I've ever met. So, and he's also quite expert too. So he's really good.
Wow.
I actually look forward to going.
Maharaj, do you look forward for his associate, Maharaj, or for him to put this thing in your mouth?
Well, he does what he has to do, but he does it very, what we say,
Lovingly.
yeah, he's gentle. He's the most
Wow.
gentle I've ever met. So then when I come back tomorrow and I can't talk, I'll have to retract my statements anyway.
Hare Krishna. Then we'll have to ask Shrimati to be the translator for you, Maharaj.
We can give the class.
Yeah, I think why not? Absolutely, Maharaj. Absolutely. That would be great.
Okay. I'm on
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. You got to run for your appointment. Thank you.
my dentist is transcendental.
Hari, Hari, whoa.
Wow.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, are you giving the class at 6 p.m. at Soho today?
They changed the schedule. Because there's a class at 4:30 today, and I gave class this morning. So if I give class at 4:30, which is going to end about 5:45, and then give class at 6, and then go to kirtan, I think they readjust the schedule to eliminate that 6 o'clock class.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Not too many people know about the change. The change was done not by my suggestion. They just they thought we don't want to wear out the Swami, so
They're being very sensitive, Maharaj, and very kind. That's so nice.
I didn't have anything to do with it. Just follow whatever they tell me to do.
Wow. Maharaj, did you know that Malati Prabhu was in the hospital?
No, for what reason?
Heart. She had a extremely low blood pressure and very high fast rate. She was in the hospital for about, I think, a week. She came back last week and she has AFib, atrial fibrillation. So yeah, we were going back and forth chatting, me and her. She was in there for a week.
Who's 80 years old, you know that.
Yeah, 82, right? Think March that? Good things that.
Yeah, her 81st birthday is this year.
Yeah,
Coming.
81st, yeah. She has the same birthday as Mother Kalini, August 31st, I believe, or August 30th.
30.
Yeah, they both share the same birthday.
August 30th. Yeah, I remember last year we celebrated her 80th birthday.
Wow. So nice. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, Marge, that she was in the hospital for a week but she's home now.
Yeah, she's tough. She can get through all of these things. She's really tough.
She's got Prabhupada's Shakti, Maharaj. She really does.
Really, sometimes too much.
Marsh, I don't want to keep you waiting from your transcendental dentist if he's going to curse us for making you run late.
Yeah, I gotta get going. So
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.